Let's begin our meditation with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Bahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Keshwarji, Beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, Saints of all religions, Beloved Swamiji, we humbly bow to you all. Divine Mother, bless this meditation. Help us to go deep inside. We yearn for thee. Fill us with thy joy, thy unconditional divine love. We are your instruments. We deeply thank you for your presence in our lives. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Varniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Varniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Varniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Varniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Varniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Varniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Varniyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Urvarukam Eva Vandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Urvarukam Eva Vandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Urvarukam Eva Vandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Urvarukam Eva Vandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Urvarukam Eva Vandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Urvarukam Eva Vandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivaranam Urvarukameva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Swaha. O eternal fire of Om, we cast in thy flames of love all of our karma. Come to us, awaken us. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Now let's meditate together and listen to these words of Master. Take them deep into your heart and feel as if he's speaking directly to you. And then we'll meditate.
From the depths of slumber, when you ascend this spiral stairways of wakefulness, be sure to whisper, God, Christ, Gurus. God is the food, and when you break your fast of nightly separation from Him, taste Him and mentally say, God, Christ, Gurus. No matter where you go, let this spotlight of your mind ever keep turning on God. And in the battle din of activity, let your silent war cry be, God, Christ, Gurus. When boisterous storms of trial shriek, and when worries howl at you, drown their noises by loudly chanting, God, Christ, Gurus. When your mind weaves dreams with threads of memories, then on that magic cloth always emboss God, Christ, Gurus. Every night, in time of deepest sleep, when your peace dreams and calls, joy, 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 and your joy comes singing evermore, always inwardly chant, God, Christ, Gurus. In waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving, let your soul constantly hum, unheard by any, God, Christ, Gurus.
Om. 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 Shanti. I welcome everyone to our Sunday Satsang, this very special occasion that we're celebrating Master's Mahasamadhi. It's a very holy occasion, and the spiritual vibrations are very strong right now. So it's very important that we try to take some time today and tomorrow and the next day to really meditate and try to feel Master's presence in our hearts, because he's there. He's there in our hearts. He's not gone from this world. And to the extent that we can understand that through deep meditation and selfless service and satsang, we can understand that if we can live our lives with more devotion, then he will come. One of the disciples said to him, well, what will we do when you're gone? It's going to be horrible. It's going to be sad. We've had you every day of our life for years. How can you be gone? And he just looked at him and he said, if you think me near, I will be near. And just think about that. Think Master's name, God, Christ, Guru. Think about his love. He's here. He's not outside of us. He's within us. So just, he's a thought away. It's so simple. And we make our lives very, very complicated by thinking we have to do this and succeed at that and be perfect at this and accomplish this and all of the things that we think we need to be and do and say. None of that matters. None of it matters. If we're the worst failure on earth, if we're the worst disciple that ever walked the face of this path, none of that matters. If you think Master's near to you, then he will be near to you. And then you commune with him and you talk to him. And you call him after your meditations, God, Christ, Guru, God, Christ, Guru, again and again and again. And then you will realize within your own hearts that he was there all the time. Where has he gone? We've gone. We're the ones that run around this world and think we're so lucky to be here. Well, maybe we're lucky to be here if we're serving our Guru. If a purpose of our life is to love God, is to serve God, then we're lucky because we're instruments for that love flowing through us. This is what's important in our life. It isn't important that we get the perfect education and the perfect job. If those are the things that Master wants you to do, they're important only in the reality of his presence in that part of your life. That's the only importance. Nothing else matters but God. And we're so fortunate to have Swamiji. He was with us for so many years, but he was with Master for 3.5 years. And the beauty of his perfect attunement, his perfect discipleship resonates throughout these many years, 50 years, 60 years of Ananda. It's quite remarkable how he dedicated every moment to not only bringing Master's vibration out into this world so that we too could feel that, but he dedicated every moment of his life to becoming the perfect disciple. He said at the end of his life, he didn't care what he had done, the books, the talks, the communities, whatever. He said, all I want to be known as is a perfect disciple, a good disciple, he said, not even a perfect disciple, because perfection is already there, but we tend to underestimate the quality of our soul and the perfection of our own soul. But it's the good disciple that will make it all the way to the end. And the deepest blessing for us was that one of the deep blessings was that Swamiji actually was with Master at his Mahasamadhi. He was actually with the Guru, and he earned that because of his total dedication and his love for God and Guru. He earned that. And he was there. And for many years, he couldn't talk to us about it at the community. He was so moved by the experience, so moved. He loved his Guru so much. He wanted him, we're human. He wanted him in the body. He wanted him there, telling him what to do and guiding him and loving him in this material plane. But he was there when Master left his body in Mahasamadhi, and that blessing stayed with him for the rest of his life until he too had his Mahasamadhi. And he wouldn't talk, but toward the end, when he wrote his new path, when he wrote The Path, the autobiography of his life, which is mostly just stories of his Guru, because that's when his life began, he said, and his search for God. And so he wrote about it in the book, and it was so touching. And he said it was very difficult for him to write those words because he was moved to his core, that he was there and Master left. And then he recorded the words that he had written in the path. And today I want to listen to this recording. It's very short, it's just 5 minutes, but I sent it out to some of you on the internet already, so perhaps you've heard it, but I thought it would be wonderful during this Mahasamadhi if we could listen to it again. So we'll just listen to Swamiji's description of that eventful, blessed time of Master's Mahasamadhi.
Years ago, Master had said, "When I leave this earth, I want to go speaking of my America and my India." In a song about India that he had written, to the tune of the popular song My California, he paraphrased the ending of that popular version with the words, "I know when I die, in joy I will sigh, for my sunny, grand old India." Once, too, in a lecture he had stated, "Heart attack is the easiest way to die. That is how I choose to die." This evening, all those predictions were to prove true. Master was scheduled to speak after the banquet. His brief talk was so sweet, so almost tender, that I think everyone present felt embraced in the gossamer net of his love. Warmly he spoke of India and America, and of their respective contributions to world peace and true human progress. He talked of their future cooperation. Finally, he read his... Throughout his speech, I was busy recording his words, keeping my eyes on my notebook. He came to the last lines of the poem. Where Ganges woods, Himalayan caves, and men dream God, I am hallowed. My body touched that sod. Sod became a long drawn sigh. Suddenly, from all sides of the room, there was a shriek. I looked up. "What is it?" I demanded of Dick. I looked up. Him seated beside me. "What happened?" Master fainted, he replied. "Oh, no, Master, you wouldn't faint. You've left us. You've left us." The forgotten playwright, and we cried silently, "This is too perfect a way for you to go for it to mean anything else." I hastened to where Master lay. A look of bliss was on his face. Virginia Wright was stooped over him, trying desperately to revive him. Mr. Ahuja, the Consul General, came over to me and put an arm around my shoulders to comfort me. Never, dear friend, will I forget that sweet act of kindness.
They brought Master's body to Mount Washington and placed it lovingly
They
on
brought
his
Master's
bed.
body to Mount Washington and placed it lovingly on his bed.
One by one we went in, weeping.
One by one we
and
went
knelt
in,
by his bedside.
weeping, and
Mother,
knelt by his
cried
bedside.
Joseph, "Oh,
Mother, cried Joseph, oh, mother.
indeed, Master had been
Indeed,
a mother to us all.
Master had been a mother to us
And how
all.
much more than a mother.
Ah, and how much
Miss
more than a
Lancaster
mother.
gazed at me in
Miss
anguish.
Lancaster gazed at me
How
in
many thousands
anguish.
of years it took
How many
Marvelton,
thousands
older
of years it
disciple,
took Marvelton, older disciple, gazing upon him in quiet awe, to produce such a perfect face. Later on, after we'd left the room, Dayamata remained alone with Master's body. As she gazed at him, a tear formed on his left eyelid and slowly trickled down his cheek. Lovingly she called it with her handkerchief. In death, as in life, he was telling his beloved disciple, and through her the rest of us, I love you always, through endless cycles of time, unconditionally, without any desire except for your happiness, forever in God.
And this is a further thing I wanted to read from the path. How often since Paramahansa Yogananda's lips were sealed in death have we, his disciples, experienced the fulfillment of that deathless promise. Truly, his was not death at all, but Mahasamadhi, the great Samadhi, a perfect yogi's final conscious exit from the body as he merges with the infinite. One of the first proofs we received of our Guru's victory over death came from Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, where the casket containing his body had been kept unsealed for 20 days, pending the arrival of 2 disciples from India. On May 15th of that year, Mr. Harry Rowe, mortuary director of Forest Lawn, sent Self-Realization Fellowship a notarized letter. The absence of any visual signs of decay in the dead body of Paramahansa Yogananda offers the most extraordinary case in our experience. No physical disintegration was visible. This state of perfect preservation of a body is, so far as we know from mortuary annals, an unparalleled one. The appearance of Yogananda on March 27th, just before the bronze cover of the casket was put into position, was the same as it had been on March 7th. He looked on March 27th as fresh and unravaged by decay as he had looked on the night of the death. The casket was closed and sealed for 20 days when word came that the 2 Indian disciples would not be able to make the journey. Later, one of them reported that Master, after his Mahasamadhi, had appeared to him in his physical form and embraced him lovingly. Others in America, too, received this grace of his physical resurrection. Most of us were grief-stricken for a time at Master's passing, but Mrs. Royston told me of going one day with a few of the nuns to his crypt in Forest Lawn. The others were standing in front of the crypt, she said, weeping. But I didn't at all feel we'd lost him. I called to him silently and suddenly felt him standing beside me. I heard him say quite distinctly, "I'm not in there." He seemed surprised that disciples schooled in his teachings should be paying so much attention to his mere physical form. What about our own lives after his passing? If this book were primarily an autobiography, I'd feel it necessary to recount the details of the many years I have lived since then. After all, Master left his body when I was still only 25 years old. Now I am 82. My purpose in writing this book, however, has been primarily to tell what it was like to live with him. I preface that account with my own search for truth, because my search led inevitably to the quest for God and to its necessary next step, that of seeking guidance from a guru. And there were many occasions where the disciples of Master were blessed with an appearance and a vision of Master in his body after he left over all these years, but right around that time of the Mahasamadhi especially, in dreams and visions and in physical form, Master appeared to his disciples. And so for us, what we need to realize is that Master's here. I know it, we say it, we pray, we meditate. But I think as disciples on this path for a while, and maybe just coming onto this path, what we want is to actually feel his presence. We want to actually experience his presence. We want to actually know within our own souls that he is present in our life. And the only reason he came was to show us the way within our own souls that we too are just like him. One of the disciples said to him once, well, it's easy for you, you're a master. And he said, what do you think made me a master? What do you think made me a master? He said, by doing. Christ, Ramakrishna, the gurus, Master, Swami, all of them started out the same as we all started out, as sparks of the infinite God. And then their journey began as ours began. And many nights and days of Brahmas have gone by, and they came to show us, especially our guru, that it is possible to melt back into God, that it is possible to finally seek that freedom, to reach that freedom that we've been seeking. All we have to do is love God. This is what Master's message was, love God. And how do we love God? How do we love God? We little disciples that, think we're nothing. How do we love God? Well, first of all, we love one another. First of all, we love ourselves and we appreciate ourselves as children of God. We see ourselves as children of God. And then we also see one another as children of God. And when that love flows through and you begin to feel a connection in the heart with your brothers and sisters on this planet, that's when you feel God's presence, because God is love. He's not outside of these experiences. He's not outside any one of us. He's here in the moment, and it's for us to open up, to receive that love and to share it. We won't get it just thinking about ourselves or just reading books or looking at videos. We won't get it that way. I mean, a little bit. We might be inspired, but it's not for us. It's not for us. When we open up and we really begin to understand another person's reality as their reality as a child of God, then you begin to feel that there's not really a barrier between me and that soul, our children, our husbands, our wives, anybody on this planet. You begin to just love, and you see them as love. This is why Master came during Dwapara Yuga, a time of conflict, a time of just violence, and look what's happening in the world today. It's no coincidence that these gurus came now. But it's not enough just to say, oh, bless me, fill me with your blessings, and oh, I'm filled with your blessings, and then sit there and be blessed. That's not going to work that way. What we have to do is take those blessings and share them in this world. Why do you think we were all incarnated at this time? There's no accident. There's no coincidences in the universe. We were also connected to this great line of masters and those that have gone before. We are connected, and they are working through us to the extent that we allow them. We need to allow them to work through us. And how do we do that? How do we do that? Any way you can, anywhere you are, any part of life that you're in, any frame that you're in this lifetime, any way that you can. If you're cooking, if you're on the internet, if you're working, if you're raising your children, if you're teaching children, if you're singing, if you're eating, any way you can, you have to think of a way, a means to share these blessings, because then your heart will expand. One time, Swami went to Master and said, teach me to love love God as you love me. Teach me to love you as you love me. And Master just said, how can the cup hold the whole ocean? How can it? And that was at the very beginning of Swamiji's life. And I will add my testimony to those who have gone before, that Swami's expansion in his cup grew, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And at the end of his life, he was feeling Master so strongly that there was no difference, he said, between his thoughts and Master's thoughts. He didn't know if it was Master or him thinking. That's how much his cup had expanded. And how did he do that? How did he do that? He just did it because he loved his guru, and he did what his guru told him to do. Simple things. Swamiji he did great things, and we tend to think of him as, oh, I'll never do anything like that. But his greatness was in his personal relationships with people and the way he treated other people, because then you really felt the love pouring from him. And he didn't get any accolades and pat himself on the back and call himself a guru. He just loved. This is what we have to do. Don't worry so much about your problems. Don't worry about what's happening to you. Don't think you're unworthy. Don't think that you have nothing to give. Don't think that, oh, but they're doing this and I'm only doing this. Every single thing that we do in life is given to us by Divine Mother. Isn't that enough? Isn't that a gift? We have the gift of our life, and we were incarnated together. This spiritual family right here, this large spiritual family, Master's family, here in India, all over the world, we came in to help Master with his work in this world. There's a lot of darkness now, and it's going its way. You know, it's gaining strength, but there's a lot of light, and there's a lot of love, and there's a lot of bliss, and that's going to win, because when you turn on the light, the darkness disappears, and that light is within each one of us. That light we're warriors of that light. We are born to share that light. And maybe you think, oh, she was raised at Ananda, and look at her, and she can talk, and she's doing this. No, honestly, when I heard Jyotish and Devi talk this morning, and Devi said something, and it was so beautiful. She said, people look at us and think, oh, we're Swami's legacy or whatever. And she said, I don't think of myself that way. I really only think of myself as a child of God, and I'm doing my best. And I'm just doing what Master asked me to do, and I'm doing my best. And so she's open to Master's grace. And that's it for all of us. No one's more important. She also told a very important story this morning that really touched me too. The whole thing touched me. I would really recommend listening to it. But she said when in the early days of Ananda, she was talking about loyalty to the path and loyalty to the guru. And she said in the early days of Ananda in San Francisco, Swamiji was talking at an event. And after he went home, there were a group of disciples, and they were going to listen to this other guru that was talking, this yogi. And so he was supposed to be a very wise man. And so they all went. And so the guru or the yogi in that group said, okay, now I'm going to give you a mantra. And it was pretty presumptuous, but everybody went up and got their mantra. And then Devi said, I have a different guru. I don't want the mantra. He said, you should just take the mantra. So he gave her a mantra, and that's a diksha in a certain spiritual path. It's very powerful. And so time went by, and then she was with Swamiji at one point, and she said, Swami, I got this mantra from this guru. And he got really upset. And he said, it took you long enough to tell me. And he just blasted her. And she said the mantra just left her head. And she never said it again. And she realized that her dedication to the guru and the path is very narrow. It's very narrow in terms of dedication and concentration and loyalty and if you want to succeed all the way to the end, you have to stay steady. You can't go off in here. You dissipate the power from your own guru. And then there's duality that sets in. And she said she was confused until she went to Swami. But Swami got her back on track. And that was the power of Swamiji and his attunement to the guru. And it's so important for us to understand. In India, there's gurus and yogis and mantras and teachings, and there's so much. And in the early days of Ananda, there was that too, because it was just starting to take off. But when you realize that the guru came to help you to find God, you have to really be honest with yourself and say, why am I on this path? Why am I following this path? Why am I practicing these techniques given to me from my guru? Why? Am I doing it just because it's fun and I like the people? No, we really have a commitment to finding God in this life and sharing that. We really have a commitment. And because of that, each individual disciple and Shela and seeker of truth becomes very magnetic because the guru can work through you. And then more people will come and you'll be able to share that. And then they'll be able to share it and they'll be able to share it. And that's why Ananda is so powerful. And that's why Master's work is so powerful, is because people have taken it seriously. This is our time to find God. We have the guru. We have these teachings. We have one another. This is the time. And in our souls, we know that because we incarnated now. And it's really such a blessing. You know, I wake up every morning, and I have ever since this picture here, this last smile, this was taken just before Master left his body. He left us with this beautiful picture, this beautiful last smile, this compassionate, loving, forgiving, just so beautiful, so blessed, this picture, looking at his eyes. And when I first came to Ananda, the picture was on the altar in Palo Alto where I was at the center. And I just sat there for hours and I didn't even know how to meditate. I just stared at it, his eyes. And at the end of that, with my open-eyed meditation, I just promised Master, I said, I will serve you until I die. I will serve you. I don't know how. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know anything, but I will serve you because I know you. I knew Master. I knew it because my heart was open and I felt calm and joyful inside, but I felt like I had come home. And I never wanted to lose that again. I never wanted to lose that. And so when you are tempted, or when you get down, or when you can't see yourself as in a shining light because you just aren't being a shining light in your own eyes, just gaze into Master's eyes and say, just help me. He's there. Just say, help me. I want to get back on track. I want to serve you. Just help me. And then you'll begin to see little by little, step by step, he'll get you out of it. You get out of that labyrinth of darkness or depression or restlessness, whatever, because that's why he came. He came to get us out of the clouds of our mind, he said. He came to take us out of the clouds of our mind. He hasn't left. And the more you open up and really say, okay, I'm yours, and you don't have to do anything great. You know, in the beginning, I would look at people like Swami and Jyotish and Devi and all these great souls and really saintly souls at Ananda. And I would think, oh my God, what am I doing here? I'm never going to make it, you know? But over the years, I felt more and more comfortable in knowing that these are the steps that I have to take. This is my spiritual family. This is what Master gave me. And so I embrace it, no matter how I feel about myself. Not always the best, but that doesn't matter either. None of that matters how we feel. It matters how we feel about God. It matters about our desire and our yearning for God. That's the only thing that matters. Divine Mother will come to us if we call her. And she's come to us in the form of our guru. He didn't leave in 1952. He broadened his awareness of each soul that yearns for God. And now he can work through us with the techniques he's given us, with our life in God. He can work through us now, and we can help others. We can help others by reaching out right where He's put us. It really doesn't matter. You know, in the end, Divine Mother at the pearly gates isn't going to say, oh, did you wear blue? Well, then you can't come in. Did you live in an ashram? No. Well, then you can't come in. Sorry. Were you a teacher? Were you important? Were you successful? Well, sorry. You know, none of that matters. None of that matters. Divine Mother just doesn't care. She cares if you love her. She cares if you love her. And that's our goal here at Ananda, our goal on this earth, our goal in this world, especially now during this time. We've got to bring the light into this world. And we have one another. We have this path. So tune into what Master has given us. Life goes by very quickly, very quickly. Swami's gone now. He's not gone, but he's out, not in the physical body. Everybody's getting older. And now Master sent a whole group of young people in to take up the banner. Not to just say, oh, come back, who's going to do the altar? It's for us now to step up. We've got to step up. You've got to step up. And when you do, you will find so much bliss and joy, so much happiness, so much connection to God and Guru. So don't be strangers. Satsang is so important because it's easy to get off, just like Davy did that time. The whole group's going, oh yeah, let's go get another guru and another this and that. It's easy to get off. It's just a thought. Oh, well, this isn't exciting. I'm going to go over here. Satsang brings us all together and keeps us strong, keeps us magnetic, keeps us joyful. So come to the center often, meditate together often on the internet, do those Kriya meditations together, serve together, think of ways to reach out to all of our Guru Bhais, and you will not feel that loneliness anymore. Loneliness is a big deal in this world right now. People feel lonely, disconnected, disorientated. Well, how do I do it? Pick up the phone, call Bindu, she'll tell you. Bindu has a lot of ideas. Call any one of us. And you can do anything, bringing flowers to the altar, straightening the pillows, anything, calling a friend. So every day I wake up and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And we love each and every one of you in God and in Master. It's really true. Every single person that I know that we've met here in India, and especially here in Bangalore, it's like, I know you. We've been together before. I know you. There's no time of getting together. What do you do for a living? How much money do you make? We don't care about those things. We just know each other. And we've done this before and we're doing it again. So let's help one another. Let's help the Master with this work during this very dark time on the planet, and stay in the light and create the light and be that light. And then you will see we'll be transformed and we will find the freedom that we're seeking, either in this life or very near, very few lifetimes in the future. We'll find God together. And just like that dream I had of all the disciples and Swami they were people that have left this material plane. They were all there on the side of the bank of a river. And I know I just shared this recently, but it was very profound for me. And they were radiant with light, and they were from Ananda, and they were beautiful, and they were shining, and they were smiling, and they were looking upstream. And there was Swami with them. And there was about 10 of them, really good friends that have gone on. And then a few days later, Anandi left her body. And then I realized they were waiting for Anandi. They were waiting for Anandi. And I wrote to Anandi that dream. And she said, thank you for telling me about that dream. She said, I've been wondering what my family on the other side has been doing. And then she left her body, just like in a day after she wrote the email. It's so beautiful. But that's what waits for us, is our spiritual family on the other side. And so we want to develop the relationships and friendships now. We want to be in God now. We want to serve the Guru now, so that when we do leave these bodies, we can rejoice. Job well done. Job well done. Master will be so happy, and everybody will be happy when each one of us goes, and they'll be waiting for us because we've all helped one another to find God. And that's true friendship. That's what Master brought to us, spiritual friendship. That's what the gift is knowing that each one wants the same thing. We all want bliss, we all want God, we all want love. So support one another in that search. So anyway, I just wanted to say those few words, and God bless you all on this very special occasion. It's actually tomorrow, but it's a privilege to be here with all of you today. And do we have the words to that song? Okay, so we're going to listen to, can you pull it up? We're going to listen to a song that a Guru Bhai wrote. And I'm going to read the words first, if I can pull them up. A Guru Bhai wrote this song, and it's called "Oh Master," and it's really beautiful. We sing it after every single Mahasamadhi or birthday or special occasion of Swami, of Masters. So I wanted to read the words to you. If she can pull them up, she's going to pull them up, our choir director. And then we're going to just listen to the song. But I wanted to go over the words because they're very beautiful. Thank you. O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. The time has come for us to see that there's but one reality upon the earth and high above, the truth that all was made from love, a love that calls to us to fly above the hills, above the sky, above the storms, above the pain, a land where peace and laughter reign. O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. Guide all our hopes and all our dreams, past every glow that only seems, into the light, the inner sun, into the truth that we're all one. Help us to find in every hour, in every thought, in every flower, a joy that spans eternity, the truth that makes us ever free. O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. Okay, so we're going to do this affirmation. This is from Jyotish and Devi, and this is for bringing light and peace into the world. So repeat after me. We'll do it 3 times. God's light is within me and around me.
God's light is within me and around me.
With the sword of faith in my hand.
With the sword of faith in my hand.
With the love of God in my heart.
With the Lord of God in my heart.
I am a warrior of light.
I am a warrior of light.
I join my brothers and sisters.
I join my brothers and sisters
everywhere.
Everywhere.
To overcome fear with faith.
To overcome fear with faith.
Hatred with love.
Hatred with love.
And disease with health.
And disease with health.
Let us fill the world with God's light.
Let us fill the world with God's light.
Again, God's light is within me and around me.
God's light is within me and around me.
With the sword of faith in my hand.
With the sword of faith in my hand.
With the love of God in my heart.
With the love of God in my heart.
I'm a warrior of light.
I'm a warrior of light.
I join my brothers and sisters everywhere.
I join my brothers and sisters everywhere.
To overcome fear with faith.
To overcome fear with faith.
Hatred with love.
Hatred with love.
And disease with health.
And disease with health.
Let us fill the world with God's light.
Let us fill the world with God's light.
And now say it silently at the point between the eyebrows as I say it out loud. God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand. With the love of God in my heart. I am a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. Let us fill the world with God's light. Om Shanti Shanti. Amen. And now let's close with a healing prayer. Call to mind those that you know who are in need of healing energy, Visualize them in this light, this love, this faith in God, and include all those on this planet who are in need right this very moment of healing, of God's love and light. Visualize this planet filled with calmness and peace and harmony and divine love. Every corner of this earth, every soul on this planet, every living thing filled with the love of God and his healing light. And let's pray. Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
thou art omnipresent.
thou art omnipresent.
Thou art in all thy children.
Thou art in all thy children.
Thou art in this world.
Thou art in this world.
Thou art in all souls.
Thou art in all souls.
Manifest thy healing presence
Manifest thy healing presence
in their bodies,
in their bodies,
in their minds,
in their minds,
and in their souls.
and in their souls.
Go out with joy.